Okay, sorry. I just want to do a quick to say that we're midway through our presentation about BINC, and unfortunately, I just now remember to start the recording. So we're going over the things that if you're going to BINC, that you don't want to miss, and if you are not going to BINC, what you're missing and what you could hopefully get to do the next time you go, since many of these do recur. Sorry about that. So Sriram, go ahead and pick us back up where we were. Sorry about that.
Certainly. No, I think let me run through, at least for the recording portion of it, we can have the, so we started here, we went through why to attend, and then we talked about some of the really good standard high quality presentations. And then we are here. Again, this is probably, if nothing else, you can attend. These are the two I would highly recommend. Club portfolio management at the bottom. It's a wonderful presentation. Scott does a great job. He was actually at one point. He also presented, I think, last year on the online chapter one session. It's a great presentation. And then the roundtable. There will be standing room only in that conference room, and people just they pile in and listen to this conversations that Sai and Ken and Mark and Kim they have. That's a great thing. Each of them, they present one or two, and they talk about, again, as Phil pointed out, have your pen and paper ready to note down some of the ideas they present you. I think 2 years ago they did talk about NVIDIA. At that time it was only $150 or something like that. So yeah, please. Those are some of the presentations that need.
Yeah, and it's such a pleasure to hear people who really know and have really done their research on a particular stock and hear their justification for it, why because they're not just justifying it to us, they're justifying it to each other. So, they're people who need to be convinced, right? I brought my stock and I think it's the best, and I brought my stock and I think it's the best. And just to hear their justification, and you could just learn so much.
Yep. Yeah. Their stocks need to, test and be valid after each other's scrutiny. So it's always a great thing to see how they present. Having said that, there are also some of them not always successful, as you can see. And then I think for some of us, we need, not for you, Chris, but some of our old guys here, we need to know a little more about. I think I'm glad they're adding, especially things like, taxman and your retirement and legacy planning. I think these are some of the things that are very valuable, even for young people. So
anybody still working here? How many retired in this particular? Are you retired, Sriram?
No, not yet. I'm still working.
Okay.
I have a daughter who is still in college, so I have to work for a couple more years.
Oh yeah. It's going to burn a hole in your pocket anyway.
Yeah.
It's tuition and room and board and God knows
Yes.
what else.
Yes, I know Chris is actively working. Phil is also working.
Okay.
I don't know about Chris or Milburn.
Oh, cool. Are you still working or are you retired?
I retired back in 2019, took an early retirement.
Okay.
Primarily, when I turned 50, this is back in the last year, I think I did BINC when I was talking. That year, I reached a number, okay, on the portfolio such that the dividend was more than the pre-tax annual gross income. So I said, okay, I'm too young to retire. What the hell do I do? So I kept on going for another 10 years. And I'm about turning 60. I said, okay, wait, I'm on a, like when you have a dividend flywheel that keeps kind of ticking once you got it started, just like a snowball.
Yep.
Yep.
And at that point, I said, okay, I really need to get out of here because, I just thought I could do other things that, when you're in the later years, you could do other things that's more meaningful in your life versus going to a job and dealing with idiots at work, or you might have an idiotic manager once in a while. And then you
Yep.
tell yourself, you know what, I don't need to put up with this. Why am I doing this to myself? And you just get up and you give notice and get the hell out of there in 2 weeks. No, actually, I didn't do that. I gave them enough time because I left on a good note. So the boss said, hey, until we replace you, we get some people, but we need to transition someone into your role. And so you need to do a knowledge transfer. So I wrote all the docs and all the basic stuff. And then instead of 2 weeks, I gave them 4 weeks and I got out. And then even when I got out, they said, would you consider, doing consulting minimum of like maybe, or maximum of 10 hours a week, or if you want to continue your health benefits, maybe minimum of 20. And I didn't want to
So
do all
I
of
don't
it.
want to, sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but I want to kind of keep us on
Okay,
topic.
right.
Sorry.
So
We can do that.
that's
We can definitely do this at the end, but I want to,
yeah,
for people who kind of want to get into this part of it, I want to make sure that we get that
perfect.
covered. So,
Okay,
um,
good.
so Sriram and I went to this class last year. Sriram, can you make this full screen again? It's not
Yep.
full screen right now on my thing. Yeah, so you have the beginner class, which is the one we talked about, the SSG boot camp, and then
Right.
last 2 years ago, Kent and Suzanne decided to have a class that would like beyond beginner, that would go a little bit more into detail using the SSG. And Shriram and I actually happened to be both in that class. Shriram, what do you think? I mean, I know you said that you're still in touch with the people who were in your group, which is awesome.
Yeah. No, what they did is they divided us into 5 people in each group. And they said, each of you bring a stock to study. And then spend some time and pick one of those 5 or 6 you have and do a study on it, do a research on it, whatever you need to do, including an SSG, and come back, tell us why we should buy that. So essentially, it gave us an opportunity to interact with each other and try to, one of them, she had the access to value line online, and she gave immediately to everybody. And then we discussed it and went back and forth. We narrowed it down to, I think, 2 or 3. And then we picked one of those and we did the research. We put together the SSG presentation. And on the last day, we made a presentation to the whole group. And then, like I said, the same group, we continued to meet. I think every other month we meet and we talk similar things. And it was a
And
very
that's
good.
something that you did not, that wasn't a requirement of the class.
No.
That's just something you decided to do because you were with such a great group.
Yes, it was a good group and we ended up keeping in touch with each other.
Did you
Um,
say the group was five members in the group? Is that
Yeah,
typical?
5 or 6, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think our group had 5. And we also had one of the volunteers as our coordinator. He or she, I think in our case it was she was wonderful in giving us some input and, yes, keeping our group together.
And now this year, for the first time, they're doing building on beyond beginner. So this is like level 3 of that. If you think of starting with the boot camp and then you go on to beyond beginner, and now it's building on beyond beginner. And so I think, Shriram, are you taking that this year?
I have not signed up, but I will.
Well, I am signed up and I'm going to take
it. Yeah.
it.
Again, I wasn't sure when and how I can get there, but
Yeah.
yes, I'm planning to take this.
Yeah, so these are classes you have to pre-register for, but I believe there are still, so this one, if you wanted to do building on beyond beginner, you have to have taken beyond beginner. But all of these are pre-register, but I think it's not too late to get into them. I know that they were sneaking people in last time at the last minute. So as long as you commit, because they're multiple sessions, they take up multiple sessions.
Yep, that is, but it's well worth it. I would
Yeah.
highly recommend this. It's almost like, Ken Kavula's class. If you learn, you'll take it with you. The couple of things that caught my eye is, like Bakul said, dividend stocks. If you build a good portfolio with them, you can retire. And then, again, this even in dividends, how to spot those dividends that are rising dividends. I think that's very important. There are so many companies that are doing that, and some of the companies which are starting new. Typically, most companies do that, especially that SSG may not look good, but the dividend they provide looks very good. So this is, to me, this is also a very good presentation if you can find time to attend. Again, if you're in club, to me, this is essential, how we need to manage our portfolio. I think previously we were talking about this. Trimming is a skill, and that needs, a good understanding of what to do, how to trim, when to do all those things to manage your portfolio. That's a wonderful. Craig, again, he spoke to us several once or twice, right, on the online chapter. He's a
Yeah,
very
he was one of our speakers.
yeah, he's a very good presenter.
Mhm.
I did not attend this session on managing your portfolio for total return, but this is something that is worth looking at. I think, again, what Buckle was saying a little bit back, sometimes you don't want to follow SSG to the book. You may want to find what is tolerable within your limits of your requirements and your limits of managing your portfolios. Then, to me, some of these things are, again, traditional better investing probably would not give us, but this is, was Joe was he on one of our online chapter presentations? No, I think
No, I don't believe so.
yeah, somebody else. We had a guy present something similar to this. This is also, again, I don't understand much, so I probably would keep away from this. But for those of you who can tolerate this kind of adventures, more power to you.
Well, some people might be feeling bored, right? They're just like, oh, I kind of got my portfolio, down to a science, and they might want to try something different, like you say, out of the box. It's
Right. So I thought that's why.
well, and even just so you can speak to your teenager or your your young adult, because options are now like everybody's trading them. The young people are trading them like like baseball cards. So
Yes. Again, if you understand it, there are a lot of people who made a lot of money and retired when they were 35. So, and then what I did in this presentation, I'll be happy to share with everybody on this call if you want. This is all summarized from what they have. That's all in there. So please take a look at that. And I don't know if there is a way. Did anybody try the link I put? Were you successful, Phil, in accessing any of the handouts yet? No. Okay.
I'm actually on the site.
But the handouts,
Yes. There's a link in the
Yeah.
chat. See if it works. I don't know if it does.
we were trying to see whether people who are not signed up for BINC would be able to still see the handouts.
yeah. It says suspicious link. Mine.
Huh.
Oh, wait a
It
minute.
does-
Wait a
It
minute. Oh,
does
here
say
we go.
suspicious
Here we
link,
go.
but I do see it. Yeah.
Yeah, it just popped up here, and yeah, they're all listed, and you get PDFs,
Yeah.
either 1 page or 4 pages for everything. So I guess I lost everybody here now. But
No,
anyway,
we are here. We are here. Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's wonderful. I'm glad you can see it again. Take a look at that and you should be able to follow through those things. And I think they're going to leave it there for a few months. So, and then last year, I forgot, they were taking orders to sell all the presentations with video and audio, and they're planning to put them on a micro USB or something like that. So they were trying to, it was something like, I don't know, it was like $150 extra or something like that.
Yeah, and then you're going to get not all the presentations, but the more popular ones. And one year I bought them and then I never listened to them, so it turned out not to be a great idea for me. But it
Good.
is, especially, I don't know. I mean, I think you can get them whether you come or not. So
Yeah, yeah. And no, I think it's only from there you can buy, I think.
oh, really?
Yeah, in one of the emails that said you can order only during BINC.
So, and I'm assuming we wouldn't be able to make them available somewhere online for everyone.
No, we.
Yeah.
But you have the PDFs,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, we're talking
and you
about the
could
audio.
you could contact the person if you have an interest at some point in the future.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they'll be happy to do that. I think we contacted a couple of presenters and we used
Yeah.
their presentations and in
Well, and
follow.
also if you Google a lot of the presenters, if they present frequently, you can find the same basic speech or the same basic presentation on like YouTube or something if they've given it to other groups and made that public. Sometimes that
Yeah.
is possible.
That's very true. That's very true. I think this is one of my last slides. Yeah, and again, I just put the first slide one more time here. That's all. Any questions? Any information you want to share?
So are Shriram and I the only two that are going to be going to BINC tomorrow?
I'm going.
Great.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Seems to be jam-packed. I mean, I hate to ask this question. Is there any downtime to
No.
do other things? I guess not.
Yeah,
No.
actually, well, it depends when you're getting in. So I get in tomorrow at 8 a.m. and I guess we don't have to be there till
Oh,
5.
okay.
And then Sunday, if you're staying a little later, we're done like at noon, and then you have some time then. But otherwise, no, they've got you there from 7 in the morning till like 8 at night. So
And say generally you can sleep between midnight and like 6 a.m.
exactly.
6 o'clock. Yep.
But one thing we didn't talk about in the presentation actually is that some of the best, perhaps the most that you'll get out of BINC is sitting at the table with other investors. So rather than just, I mean, it's always a temptation, right? To sit with people you know, to sit with people who you came with. But if you can just make a commitment that you're going to spread out and sit with strangers, or at least one or two strangers at the table at each meal, you're going to make some fantastic connections and just overhear some wonderful conversations, to learn about some stocks, at least, to jot down some to study. And of course, that's what everybody wants to talk about. So you're going to, I feel like some of the most value that you get is just being allowed to be at the table with some people, like Shriram said, people who have made millions and millions of dollars in stocks, who are sitting right there with you and giving you their
Yes.
benefit of their wisdom.
Yes. And yes, that's the point. There is a lot of investment wisdom in those conference rooms.
Well, and a couple of thoughts. Mel, is this your first one or have you been to one before?
This will be my first one.
Okay. So
Excellent.
when I went to the first one, I went and I was by myself. And like they said, if at meals or after or in between sessions or whatever, you sit down next to somebody you don't know, what I'm gonna say is they won't be strangers for very long because people are extremely friendly. They'll introduce themselves. They'll ask you where you're from, and within 5 or 10 minutes, you'll feel very, very comfortable.
Well, we have all common interest, right? So
Yep.
that'll certainly help in the
But-
conversation. And then I'm sure that's the way things will transpire.
Absolutely. Now, are they
Well,
still
and-
doing Saturdays? Is Saturday still going to be a public day?
I think so.
Yeah. So normally Saturday is free and open to the public. So if you live anywhere near Chicago, make the investment just to drive or whatever, get yourself over there and at least explore a little bit. You know, you can talk to all the vendors and you can talk to other future potential investors and have some great sessions that are open to the public. So that's another possibility if you are someone in the neighborhood.
Well, and I don't know if they still do this, but if they run a lab, I thought it was always, being on the technical side, I always found it fascinating to pick up a conversation in the lab or walk through, some of the software, whether it's the online SSG or whatever. And again, get in the middle of a debate in the middle of the lab about, debating Home Depot and Lowe's or Coke and Pepsi or whatever. And you never know what kind of conversations you may pick up.
Very true. Very true. And Anne will have her computer and she will be happy to answer any software questions.
The other question, Shriram, and I don't know whether you know or not, but we were going to have a what do you call it? Like a little party or a little gathering for the online chapter. Do you know where that's going to be?
No,
Or
I
when?
don't know the details. I don't think that was shared yet. Hopefully we'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, what happened last time was that there was like a little invitation, right, in our packages. If you're part of the online chapter, you got a little invitation to say, hey, we're having a meet and greet at this time. And it's another opportunity to meet some folks from the online chapter.
Yes.
Well, and I think generally they have announcements each day in the morning. They,
Yeah.
do a breakfast or whatever.
Yep.
So I would think that they would, make that announcement as well.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm pretty sure they will. Yep.
Yep. Great. Does anyone want to share any of their experiences from past BINCs or ask any questions or have any comments?
That's what I was kind of curious of. If you've been to a national convention before, what was your takeaway, whether it was last year or 10 years ago? What do you remember on whether it was with regards to a specific seminar, a specific speaker, or just in general about the convention?
You want me to go first?
Sure.
Yes, please.
So yeah, there were the initial ones I attended was just as an attendee, and sometime later, I had speaking engagements. So regardless of what the heck I was doing, I made lifelong friends since then. So they all extended family, believe it or not. So um, I've communicated either through email, through text, the phone. There's some BI members who I used to talk to once a week on Sundays. Sometimes it would be for an hour or expected to be an hour, and it would turn out like 3 to 5 hours talking about something. So it kept on going. And so I think it was very rewarding. It's one thing to have common interests with stocks, but then you start realizing the other parts of life that the people you meet, right? So for example, Kim was sidetracked a little bit because she was taking, she moved, she has a house in Indiana, but she moved to Florida to take care of her parents. She was doing elder care duties. And I think her father passed away a few years back, and then mom passed away last year. So now she's back into the track, come back to, full vengeance into BINC and whatever else. So you get to know these people all over the country. And I know both the Nancys real well, Nancy Craze and Nancy Isaacs. We used to have an AOL CompuServe, if you guys remember, and that somehow in the infinite wisdom of headquarters, they didn't renew one of the licenses for reuse, and that kind of folded out to something else, and that something else still exists. So I'm plugged into that as well. So it's a different form, but there's very little activity going on there. So anyway, that's my take.
Very good. Thank you.
Sure.
Mel, did you say this is your first BINC?
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, fun. I can't wait to hear your thoughts afterwards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look forward to it.
Yeah.
Are there any courses or classes you're interested in, Mel?
Well, that's one of the reasons I'm watching this, to get some ideas. Certainly, hard for me to right now pick out which one I want to go to. I think the one you mentioned that was mentioned that let's see, Doug Gerlach's
Yes.
the five levels, I guess. Certainly something I'd really like to attend.
How long have you been practicing better investing?
My story is well, 30 years. Okay, I belong to a club that's in existence for 30 years, but the club is they just cannot bring themselves to do the discipline of better investing. Okay, um, so it's a good club, uh, but when we first started out 30 years ago, we were all members of Better Investing. I have old Better Investing magazines, and so we used to do SSGs by hand,
Yeah.
and and then we just fell away from that. And recently, I decided to rejoin, and I rejoined here as well, I guess as the online. And
Remember,
that's
yeah.
sort of my story.
Excellent. Welcome back, and I hope you have a wonderful time next couple of days. Christian, you've been very quiet. Any questions or any comments? Have you ever been to
No,
BINC?
no, not really. Just I attended BINC and I think it was 2018 when it was in Orlando. It was closer. Um, I was new back then. I was brand new. I remember it was very exciting, but it was so much information. It was hard to really like absorb. It was almost, it's like a fire hose putting open up your mouth and you gotta I mean, it was great. And I ended up purchasing all the package where you can, and I still have them. And to this day, I never gone back to see them, but I can always go back to see them if I want to.
Yeah.
But I tell you, it's I think it's a very slow process. I've been since then. I've been hard at it. You guys see me at the Yankee Club, and I try to
Yes.
attend the ticker talks in the stock ups and as many as I can. And I'm part of the South Florida Model Investment Club, and I'm also a member of another investment club, a private investment club, the Financial Escape Investment Club.
Cool.
And so I've learned a lot. But I tell you, I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface. Like I got so much to go. I think now my tune is changing. I really feel like I think it's been, I don't know, what's it been like 7 years now, and I feel like I should be a lot further along. So my goal now is to focus, really kind of instead of just trying to take the fire hose and hoping that you like get a thing or two. So right now my goal is I really want to learn the portfolio management and then work on the portfolio from the better investment methodology, which is the 50% medium, 25% large,
Yes.
25% small. And then also really focus on the small because it feels like all the clubs that I go to, they've all got lopsided large versus small.
Yep.
And everyone focuses on, and I did see on the agenda that there was one that's I think it's going to be, that should be interesting. One that talks about, and I think it might be Doug Gerlach or someone who says, I think it's called something about the mega. Let me see if I could find it, the title. The mega, avoid the mega something or other.
Yeah.
Craze. Like too many people swarm to the big names, and there's probably a lot of good small ones that have better growth, and that's what we're looking for is the
Yep.
growth. So that's what I'm trying to focus on is try to hone in on one or two. Here it is. Build a healthier portfolio by avoiding the mega stock fluenza.
Yeah, mega stock fluenza. Yep.
And that's by Doug Gerlach. So that would be very interesting. But unfortunately, I'm too busy. I've got a career. I got 2 kids, one in gymnastics, one in dance, and I'm running all over the place. And I feel like I got 3 jobs. And so I really would not be able to go to Chicago. But if next time it comes closer again, I would definitely attend.
That'll be wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. Just
It's a great thing for the
Christian,
kids too. Get the kids involved in stock investing young.
Oh, that's my goal. It's going to be harder than I'd like it to be, but yes, that's my goal.
just a question, are there any presentations on portfolio management?
Yes.
I did see some on there. Let me see. Let me see if I can find one real quick.
I think there was one on the presentation, right?
Yeah,
Shivam? One
So the
I-
one's called Managing Your Portfolio for Total Return.
Yep.
And then there was another one that was called
Build a healthier portfolio by avoiding mega stock fluenza, which you just
Yep.
talked about.
Yeah. And then there's a trim or
Centering Your
sell, which is better
Stock
for your
Portfolio
portfolio.
Management.
Yeah.
Number 202, Centering Your Stock Portfolio Management.
Right.
And then I think there might be one more.
Trim or sell, which is better for your portfolio.
Yeah.
There's also stock diversification, why you need it now for your portfolio.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that trim or sell, which is better for your portfolio. Then improve your
neither.
returns. Here's a good one. Number 323, improve your returns using portfolio management.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Quite a few, thanks.
Yeah,
Yep.
a lot of good stuff. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.